Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going into part 2 of the Nailfies series. So in the first part, if you missed it, I'll have a link for you in the cards, but we talked a little bit about angles and lighting and how to accessorize to make some pretty Nailfies at home. And today in part 2, we are going to be talking about editing photos, selecting the photos you want to use, and then some free apps that can kind of help clean up your photos a little bit. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around, we're getting into it. Okay, so let me go through what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to go through your photos and pick out the ones that you want to use for editing. So that may seem kind of dumb, some kind of obvious, but the reason why I want to go through that really quickly is because if you're like me and you've taken a few dozen, maybe even 100 photos, I don't know, I don't count, but you've made a fair few photos more than likely, and sometimes it can be overwhelming trying to figure out which ones you want to use. So I'm just going to quickly go through my process for how I narrow them down, and I'm sorry if you hear Charlie in the background, he's doing Charlie things. Yes, I'm talking about you. But then after that, we will go through, it's either 3 or 4. I honestly can't remember. It's 3 or 4, one of the two. We'll find out. Apps that I like to use to edit my photos. So I will go through each of those and show you how I use them. And these apps are available on Android and Apple. I did check for that because I'm a Samsung girl. You're not going to convert me to your iPhones. I'm sorry. I love my Samsung. I love my Android. But I know I'm in the minority, so I wanted to check to make sure they were available on both platforms first. So I did. So they are. So these are free apps, though some of them do have paid versions, and there are some that I think it's worth paying a few extra dollars a month to have the paid version, but I'll let you make that choice when we get to them. So let's go ahead and get into some photos. Okay, so I apologize here for the change in the video look, but I'm using my daughter's phone so I can demo this for you. So I recently took these photos of my Vivid Glam Co-Mani for the Giddy Up 2 collection, and so I'm going to be using these to show you how I edit these photos. So the very first thing I like to do is go through and favorite the photos that I really like the looks of. So I'm not sure with how it works on iPhone, so I'm using my Android phone here as an example, but if you can see in this bottom left-hand corner, there's a little heart, which you can click on to signify that that's a favorite photo. So as you can see, I have several dozen photos here, and though they may look very similar, they're slightly different because just as we talked about in that first video, I changed the angle slightly, I changed the lighting slightly, etc. So what I will do is click on these photos one at a time, and when I see one I like the looks of, I will favorite it. When I see one that I'm not sure about, I'll just leave it alone. And then if I see one right off the bat that I know I don't like for example when it's blurry or out of focus, I will go ahead and just delete it. So what this does is help take an overwhelming number of photos and narrow it down to a small group so that it's easier to choose the ones I want to use, and so I don't spend the time editing photos that I'm not going to end up using in the end. So once I've gone through and favorited the ones I really like, I will then sort these photos by the favorites so that all my favorites are there at the top together. And that just makes it easier for me to toggle back and forth between the photos to see which one I really like the looks of better. And then when I find one that I think looks better than the other, I'll just unfavorite the other or delete the other. That way, again, I continue to narrow it down. So I know this is nothing revolutionary, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of how to narrow down a large number of photos into a smaller number more quickly. So again, you don't end up wasting your time editing photos you're never going to use. Y'all, I am still struggling to film in this mode. It feels weird. It's horizontal like this. I don't know. It's so much easier to do this vertically. But I film nails all the time in horizontal mode, so surely I can figure this out eventually. But anyway, now that we have picked out some photos to use, I do want to address something first. And please don't take this as a critique or even that my opinion is the only opinion that matters, or that I think my way is the right way and that if you do it differently it's wrong. Please don't take it that way. I just want to cover really quickly the use of filters. I do not use filters. I don't use any kind of color changing filters. I don't use any kind of softening filters. I don't use any filters at all. And there's 2 reasons for that. This dog literally will not leave me alone. Okay, Charlie, I'll scratch the video at the same time. But anyway, there's two reasons I don't do that. The first is I'm trying at 42 to not hate my wrinkles and not hate my age spots and things like that. And yeah, I would love to definitely get rid of some of the wrinkles on my hand, but they're there, and I'm trying to learn to love myself at 42 with my wrinkles and all. So it's kind of one of those positivity things. I don't really want to mess with it just because I'm trying to work on that for me. That is definitely something I struggle with. I really hate aging. There, I said it. And the other reason is I do ambassador for several companies, and some of these manis I am posting specifically to be an influencer, to I guess help people see how pretty the dips are, and hopefully they might consider purchasing them. And I just feel like with my personal skill set, I don't have the ability to use filters that manipulate the effects of the photos without changing the color or the texture of the dips. And I don't know about you guys, but I work hard for my money, and I don't like to spend it on things that I'm disappointed in. So I don't want to give the appearance of the dip being one way, and then you purchase it and you get it and you're unhappy and you're like, that's not how it looked on you at all. So again, please don't take that to mean that if you're using filters, or really, Charlie, or manipulating your photos, that I think that's wrong. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't particularly have the skill set to make those kinds of changes to the photos without feeling like I'm affecting the look of the dips. So again, that's a personal choice. Whatever you decide to do, go for it. But that is just my explanation as to why I don't use filters. So the very first app I want to show you here is definitely not one that I use for every photo, but I'm really glad I have it when I need it. And it's called TouchRetouch. Now, as it turns out, for this set of photos, I don't really need it, but I'm going to simulate what I would use it for by altering one of these. TouchRetouch is an app that I will use to get rid of either unwanted boo-boos or dog hairs, just things like that that don't really belong in my photo that may be distracting. So in this case, I've kind of simulated a wound here because this chef dips is a chef, and sometimes she cuts herself with a knife because although I'm a pretty good cook, I'd say I'm pretty klutzy. So sometimes I will end up with little wounds, and you know, wounds can be a little off-putting in photos. No shade if you like to leave yours in your photos. I'm just saying for me, I prefer to edit them out. But pretty much all I use in this app is the quick repair, and then once I click on that, I use the quick brush, and I just tap on anything that is like a wound or, like I said, a dog hair, and it just helps to make it disappear. I don't know exactly how it works because I'm not into photo technology like that, but it kind of uses the surrounding area of the photo to determine what they think it should look like if that object was removed. So in this case, you're not really going to be editing your nails. It's more like the area around your nails. You know, are there dog hairs? Are there wounds that you want to cover up? Is there maybe a piece of your sweater that's kind of frayed and hanging off? Things like that. So again, I don't use this for every photo, but when I do need it, it really does come in handy. So let me show you the before and after with this. The next app is an absolute staple for me, and it is called PhotoRoom. I use this with probably almost every photo. I mean, I can't say everyone, but the vast majority of them I will use this app. This is a free app, but I do pay less than $10 a month for the upgrade because it's worth it to me. But it's very good even if you choose to just use the free app. This is what I will use to edit out the background of my photos. So you know how we talked about in my first video how I like to shoot a lot of my Nailfies in the background, and sometimes you see my bath products in the faucet in the photo. I don't really want those in there, so this is the program that I will use to edit those out. PhotoRoom basically allows you to take your Nailfie and keep your Nailfie, but edit out the entire background, and you can replace it with something else, and there are a ton of options. So as you can see right there, I just did a quick scan of my hand. It figured out what it wanted me to keep automatically, got rid of the background, and then I can go through my options for background and decide what I want to use. As you can see, there's a ton of options. There's white backgrounds, black backgrounds, wood backgrounds, there's studio backgrounds, there's marble backgrounds, just all kinds of cool stuff. And some of it's more realistic and some of it's more fantasy, but it's just really cool. I guess I'm a little boring when it comes to my backgrounds because I typically stick with the black or white ones. But as you can see on here, there's some that are labeled Pro. These are the ones that would only be available to you if you paid for the upgrade. If you use the free version, you can see those, but you would not be able to use them. Only the ones that would not be marked Pro would be available to a free app user. And they actually rotate these, so one that may be available to you one week may not be available the next week. So I like to have all my options available all the time, which is why it was worth it to me to upgrade, but that's completely up to you. So let me just go through a few of these so you can see what your options would be, and you can see how it changes the photo as I change the background. One thing I'd like to show you is that even when I take my outdoor photos and I keep the outdoor scenery, I like to change it a bit. In this photo, even though my hand is in the foreground, the grass is still a little bit of a distraction in the background, but I do want to keep it. So what I will actually do is keep the grass, but then fade it a little bit more into the background just so my nails really are the focus of the photo. So take a look at that. So you can see the difference here. I mean, although it's subtle, you still get more of the focus on the hand than you do on the grass in the background. So I'm going to take you through a few before and afters using this app now. So the last app I want to show you is one that I think everybody needs, and it is one that I will use for every single nail fee, and that is called Phonto or Phonto. I don't know how you say it, but Phonto. So this is what you can use to put your watermarks on your photos. Really, I think everybody should be watermarking their photos. Even if you're not posting them on Instagram, let's say you're only sharing them on Facebook, I would still watermark them. Because if you don't watermark your photos, people can steal them. So all you will do is click on the pencil icon that allows you to add text to your photo. You'll just type in your handle, and then you can change it in a wide variety of ways. So as you can see, you can change the font style, you can change the color, you can change the size. So let me just take you a few of those examples. I always find myself changing the color of my watermark to somehow coordinate with my mani. I'm so silly like that, I know. And then if you will scroll over to the right on this menu, you can see the curve option is there. You may have seen people do these Nailfies before with the watermarks that have them curved around the fingernail, and that is how they do that. That's not really a style I prefer, but if you want to do that and you like the look of that, that is how you would do it. And then once you're happy with that, you would go ahead and save it to your phone. Okay, so here's another little before and after for you. And here's my Nailfie all finished. So I narrowed down my photos to the ones I really liked. I cleaned up any boo-boos with my TouchRetouch, and then I went into PhotoRoom and softened that grass background and added my watermark with Phonto. So I know there are definitely some other apps out there that you can use. So if you have any you really like, please feel free to share them with us in the comments down below. And I did say this in part 1 of the series, but I just want to say that I do understand that this is not some serious photography. This is more fun than anything. But like I said, you took pictures of your nails. They look nice. Don't you want to make your photos look nice so that they accurately represent your pretty Manny? So just saying. So I hope going through my process with you was helpful to you. But if I missed something or you're confused about something, please feel free to leave me a question or comment down below, because I'm definitely here to help if I can. In the meantime, if you haven't checked out these apps, I would go ahead and check them out. Like I said, they are all free. I know some of them do have some upgraded versions, and it's up to you whether or not you want to purchase the upgrade or not, but the free versions are very good, just as they are. And that's going to complete this video, guys. So I hope you did find it helpful. If you did, it would help me out so much if you gave me a thumbs up down below. And while you're there, if you have not subscribed yet, I hope you will consider subscribing before you go. And feel free to leave any questions or comments or really just anything down below. I'd love to chat with you guys in the comments. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.